日本ニュースタイムへようこそ。
Hi guys, another J News. You probably heard this story already, but a guy in Hiroshima, a college student, went all the way to Hiroshima with a new bag that he purchased measuring 70 centimeters by 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, checked into a hotel, had his computer, his cell phone. He's a second-year student in Tokyo, but anyway, he went all the way to Hiroshima. Then he went off and found a 12-year-old girl. She's a sixth grader. What is that? I guess junior high school. He had like a fruit knife or something, and he threatened her and said, "Get in this bag." And she was scared, so she did. Then he hailed down a taxi, got in the taxi. They're going along, and he's heading back towards his hotel room. And the taxi driver hears, voices coming from the trunk of his car saying, "Dashite, dashite," which means "let me out, dashite." The driver, the taxi driver, he's a hero, right? Some passerby, he says, "Hey, call the police, call the police." So they do that, right? And luckily the girl is saved. So yay! We interrupt this video to do a brief Japanese lesson. One phrase, okay? Nani o suru tsumori desu ka? What do you intend to do? That's what they asked him. But of course they asked him in the past tense, like, what were you intending to do? Which would be Nani o suru tsumori datta. But they probably asked him like in a tough way, like Nani o suru tsumori datta no ka, or something like that, right? But anyway, those are the expressions. You can see them in the description below. But discussing this with, can I say your name? Maggie. I was discussing this with Maggie. By the way, check this out. I'm sitting on the couch. Maggie hid this bone under the pillow. I think she thinks I'm not going to find it because, I'm going to eat her bone, right? Okay, so anyway, I was discussing this with Maggie, who's a Japanese person. And she said, "Oh, this is terrible news. That girl is screwed for life." And I'm like, "No, it's happy news. She's escaped, And she said, "Well, I'm sure the parents don't want to talk about this. They don't want anyone to ever mention it again. And it's probably going to screw her up for life. She's screwed." And I was like, "No, I mean, in America, I remember there was a couple cases, I don't remember their names, Elizabeth something, or a couple cases in America where a couple girls were captured like for a year, or like one was, I think, 18 years or something. And they were like kept captive for a long time, like slaves of some sort. And when they were released, they actually came out with books, and I think they even made a movie about one of them. But anyway, so I was interested in what you guys think about situations like that, like trauma and getting over trauma and talking about it. So in Japan, apparently, because in the West, in America, our attitude is let's talk about it. And that's good for you. It's therapy, and you have support groups, and you have group therapy. There's a new TV show with the Chandler from Friends. I forgot his name, Matthew Perry, and it's called Go On. And his wife died, and he's got to go to the support group. But they don't really have too many of those in Japan. There is an ALK group, by the way, here in Nagoya, I've heard, and there's a support group also for Gaijin women married to Japanese men, and I'm sure there are other ones, but it's not as common, that idea or that speaking about it is good for you. And I was reading a study way back in college. I almost double majored in, I majored in English literature, and I was a few credits away from psychology, big deal, right? But I remember there being a study about Holocaust victims. And some Holocaust victims go to support groups, and some just bury it and they never talk about it. And they gave them these happy tests. And apparently the Holocaust victims that were happiest were those who buried it and never talked about it. So I always thought that was interesting, and maybe that's the way to go, So yeah, I don't know. I thought it's an interesting difference between Western and Japanese philosophy, and maybe they're smarter, right? And if you think about that, if this is really a Japanese, I don't know, what do you want to say? Part of their, of the Japanese personality as a nation of people. If we can agree that that's true, then maybe that explains some of the way they deal with war and World War II. Now I know that's a really sensitive subject, and you might think that has nothing to do with it, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that's one reason that they don't really dwell, is that the right word, or teach, or they kind of bury that part of their past in the classrooms and in life, But I gotta tell you, I was really like happy that this girl was, saved, and the taxi driver saved her and everything. But yeah, I'll link a news report in the bottom, and if you want it, I would download it really quick because this channel is always erasing their videos. But at the end of this news clip below, which is all in Japanese, they ask, you know, one of the I guess officers investigating the case said, you know, it's so lucky that the taxi driver had saved her, you know, that she was saved because something really terrible could have happened, you know, which doesn't sound at all professional to me. Like, I don't think you'd ever see a newscaster in America saying, you know, something really bad could have happened if she hadn't been saved. So anyway, that's the news of J News for today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
So give him a break.